Salvador Dali threw a great party. We all drank Bacardi, it got kinda gnarly. We're light as a feather, we're tougher than leather. Together we're weirder together.
Welcome to Weirder Together podcast. I'm Ben Lee.
I'm Ione Skye.
And we're really excited today because we have a special guest, Mr. Aaron Rose. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, guys.
You're a man who has done many things. You've left a very indelible imprint upon culture. But how do you, if someone doesn't know you, how do you describe what your life's work has been? Like what
Because your bio is very long and it's all so interesting. If we read it, it would take up 20 minutes.
What's your elevator pitch on who you are?
Oh, I mean, I don't know.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah. I mean, I guess at the high level thinking, I always just say I'm an artist, but that's not really when you say artist, people think painter,
right?
Which I am, but like not all the time or whatever. I think it's just like I probably suffer from undiagnosed ADHD or something. Like I think a lot of us do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just like I just get bored with one thing.
Yeah.
So like I write, I paint, I make music sometimes, I make films, I curate exhibitions, I just do a lot of stuff. I'm a polymath, I guess is what you call it.
And did you go into your career? Obviously I know you started the gallery when you were like 19, right?
21.
Yeah, legend. Like did you go in wanting to have this sort of very diverse career, or because I think mostly we start out with more narrow visions.
I started as a musician when I was a teenager in like a failed acoustic punk band called Cat Furniture. We played like 5 gigs and broke up. And then I decided I was going to be a painter, so I tried to be a painter. And then I stumbled upon this storefront on Ludlow Street on the Lower East Side in like 1991. And just me and a bunch of my friends moved in there not thinking to do anything really with it. I was going to use it as a painting studio or whatever. And then just started throwing art shows, more like parties, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It wasn't like a business.
Yeah.
You know, and then
parties are the most refined art form.
Yes, you know, I kind of miss those, you know, the unprofessional times. But yeah, and then it's just one thing led to another, you know? Yeah. And it's funny, actually, I don't want to diverge too far, but there's one of my earliest friends, and one of the people I met really early when I lived in New York was Mike Mills, a filmmaker who I think you guys know.
Love Mike Mills.
And Mike taught me that it was okay to be a polymath.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. You know? If you're artistic, why wouldn't you do a couple things? It's sort of, I guess it seems more unusual, I guess, if you're, I guess like math and art are related, but whatever. If you're a lawyer, and you have a band, it seems more, but
you sound like a dad.
Yeah. But why wouldn't you be? I mean, I paint and I act and I like writing as well. And I don't know. It just seems like if you're artistic, I don't know.
They inform each other, right?
Yeah. I think so.
I feel that way too.
And now it's getting more and more. I mean, it used to be really like you're an actor and a singer. It was like, ugh.
No. Well, that's what I think that whole era that you were onto very early on, and we've talked about this the way now it's so evident in social media, but I think you were onto the idea that the creation of culture could sort of take any medium, and it was more about the intention and the energy behind it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that the young people today, the kids today, are really lucky because it's much more accepted now to just do, like you were saying, like to just do a lot of things. You know?
As long as you got Instagram followers,
it's totally fine. Yeah, you just slap it on your profile, like creative director. I'm a creative director.
Right, everyone's a creative director. That's true.
And I'm really happy for those because it was, for like our generation, my generation, whatever, it was much harder to do that, you know? There was that like jack of all trades, master of none kind of like thing that you kind of always had to contend with. And I don't really feel like the new generation has that as much.
Totally. So from my memory, we met, I was 18 years old, so it would have been 96. I graduated high school and I was doing something with Mike and Tamara in it was Christmas Day, I think. And they were like, Aaron Rose is having a little party in his loft. And we went round then. It was the first time I met Harmony and Chloe. And I was wearing Dave Perner's shoes. I hadn't had some shoes for some reason in Minneapolis. And Dave Perner was like, here, I'll give you. But he was like a size 11. And I'm a smaller guy. And the first conversation I had with Harmony, he was like, whoa, you're like Charlie Chaplin.
Nice.
And so that was,
You are a bit.
Was that a tradition of like you having like gatherings on Christmas Day, or that was a one-off?
That was a one-off.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
there were a bunch of those. But okay, so in my memory,
Yeah.
the first time that we met was on Somersault Tour.
Oh, of
Because I was
course.
doing the exhibitions on the Somersault Tour, which was like a music tour that toured around Australia in '95.
That's right.
And
So it would be
Noise
a
Act
year
was on
early.
that
Yes.
bill.
Yeah.
But it was an insane tour. But I remember that we hung out.
That
on
was
tour.
so fun, that tour. Because
Yeah.
it was sort of like, it felt like also all those bands, like the alternative bands, were sort of still a little bit shell-shocked that they'd gotten famous.
Yeah.
No one was used to it yet.
No.
So it's just, yeah. And the way the art was included also was like a big part of, I think, the vision of the 90s, right? Of counterculture.
Yeah.
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 Did
I don't know where we met. I mean, I was in New York around 91 and, I was with Adam Horovitz.
Yeah.
And then...
You guys
and-
must have met back then.
We did.
yeah.
we did.
yeah.
But we never really became. Like we sort of moved in this. Like I know I
Yeah.
met you back then.
I wonder if I went there. Probably. I was so
Probably did.
stoned and pot back then that I just wandered around and
You can
was
tell she's a little out of touch calling
I
it
just
stoned
remember
on
thinking
pot.
that you
Stoned
were
on
really
pot.
fancy. That's like,
Oh,
all
really?
I remember is like, oh, she's fancy.
Oh my
likes that.
God, I'm not, but I
I was, like,
really.
not fancy.
But you grew up in Calabasas? Well, I love
did.
that people.
That
think-
wasn't as
That was
fancy back
horse
then,
country
though,
back
was
then.
it?
But and then so you Tatiana von Furstenberg as
Yeah,
well. That's
yeah.
where
You
I
guys- she was
really.
my girlfriend.
That's where I really. I feel
yeah.
like that's where I started taking you in
Okay,
first,
yeah.
not because she's fancy. No, I'm not fancy.
Yeah.
She is.
You're pretty
She's also
fancy.
not fancy, but she is fancy.
she is.
Wait,
Yeah,
how long
no,
did
she
you
was-
guys date for? Or you guys together
Maybe
for?
for like a year, like in 93, 94, around that time.
Oh, right in the heat of
Prime
things.
Yeah.
years, prime
She
years.
seduced me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Aw,
So
She
is
sent
a-
me furry handcuffs.
Oh, that's how she seduced
Yeah,
you?
Amazing.
I'd only talked to her one time before, and then she sent furry handcuffs over. And I
That's
was
so
like,
hot.
"Who is
Love
this
that.
Good on her. She's not afraid. She's not afraid to make a statement or make an impression. Yeah.
No, she's good.
That's amazing. And so, so this book, I love this book. This is all about the gallery and all the amazing artists
Great
and musicians
Christmas
and-
present or
It's an awesome
holiday present,
This
whatever.
came. When did this come out? A few years ago?
No,
Few
years.
back? Oh, years back.
15 years ago or something.
Great picks.
So, so how do you see like the legacy of Alleged and how it impact? Because I feel like so much came out of it, but
Yeah.
it's a way that it's a little like it's still sort of like an underground reference to people.
Yeah, because it never made any money.
That's what we're trying to do these
Yeah,
days.
we're trying to not make any money. Just have cultural impact.
Except, yeah, it had a lot of cultural impact,
yeah.
but it never reached the point of like maybe in the future, culture takes a long time.
Was it
That's true.
intended to make money?
I think so.
One
Yeah,
hopes.
Yeah, I mean, not to be rich, but to make rent.
Yeah.
would have been nice.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But it was like this time. I mean, we were all part of this time. Like there was a time when like all of these different cultural worlds kind of came together, you know, like the merging of like fashion culture and street culture and, you know, punk and hip hop and all of these worlds kind of all came together at one time.
Yeah.
The beginning of street culture, streetwear, all that was
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
you know, X large and like
Yeah.
all these things that were going on during that time. And then we just happened to be at the right place at the right time, you know? I don't
For
really
people
think-
to hang and go and hang out there and just all
Meet each other,
meet
yeah.
each other and like a place to go and it's so fun. How
Yeah.
great when there are those spots that you just know you can just wander in and someone's going to be there.
You'll
and
know
it's so
someone,
fun.
or and
Yeah.
if you don't know that person, then you will know them by the end of the night or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you think because you sort of were on the curational side as well as the creative side, so you had to, even if it wasn't making money, you had to comprehend it as a business? You know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
like the artists often really were clueless.
Yeah.
Do you think that having that side of your brain gave you the opportunity to sort of survive and pivot more as culture changed?
I think so.
Yeah.
And opportunities came.
Yeah.
You know, opportunity. Like Somersault was an example. Not that we made a lot of money, but more international opportunities, which happens a lot, I think, sometimes with the American underground. It's like recognized in Europe and in Japan and Australia, like years before, like the U.S. even like realizes it's there.
Well, I think in
or
some
whatever.
ways, I know at least from Australia, elevated and worshipped things and actually assumed they were bigger than they were, because the impact, you'd get these fanzines and stuff.
Yeah.
And if someone was on the cover, if Sebadoh was on the cover of a fanzine, you would just think they were this
like
massive
rock
band.
stars.
Yeah. So it's like, we got a very sort of disproportionate understanding of American underground culture.
Yeah. And Japan is the same. I mean, Japan are like, they're crazy fans.
Totally.
So yeah, but I would like go to Japan a lot during that time, starting in the mid 90s, and like go over there with a bunch of artists, and we were like, they're like paparazzi almost, that craziness. And then you go back to New York and you're like, live in a closet.
Totally.
It was like really hard to kind of deal with the two sides of all of that sometimes.
Totally. Was there one,
but
this
thank
book,
God for them, because they kept it going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This book has so many there's so much debauchery and crazy stories. Like, was there any specific moment where you really felt that the whole thing was like, I don't know, like bound for self-destruction? Just because like there was some people were engaged in some dangerous behavior. Like there are some moments I feel like where you just sort of look around and go, oh my God, is this thing going to blow up in my face?
Like every other day. Yeah, it was really because we were 2 doors down from a bar called Max Fish. Which is no longer there anymore, unfortunately.
That's where I licked MDMA off Kate Moss's hand.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was that kind of place.
Perfect experience.
Yeah. And so they became like the gallery space and the bar became kind of interchangeable in a weird way. And when the bar would close at 4, we didn't, because we all lived there. So like the nights would go like pretty often, like 3 or 4 times a week. Like they'd go till sunrise, And at a certain point, you just can't
do that anymore.
You just can't do it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah.
And
it was dark, man.
Yeah.
So every new scene, you probably think the last one was darker, and then this one looks a little different, so you don't recognize it. But then you're like, oh, I guess this is the same trajectory. Like there's this sort of whatever, and then this crash, and then you see who sort of left.
And a lot of
there's
people,
an archetypal.
And you're just like, maybe this one looks different. But it's dressed up differently, but not.
No, and a lot of people don't survive.
Yeah, for sure. Max Fish, did that start a long time ago, that bar, or it just sounds like an old...
No, it sounds like Max's Kansas City.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking about. It just has one of those like names that sound like...
She was high on pot.
Okay.
Forever.
Yeah. That'll happen. I think Max Fish opened in 89.
Okay, yeah.
And the whole... Like I think the whole skateboarding culture and the way that intersected with the art world, that was like the first time that had happened, right?
Yeah.
That was like a new thing.
Yeah.
What was the moment when you realized that there was like something of like cultural importance coming out of the skateboarding community as opposed to just like a bunch of punk kids?
I think the response, we did the first skateboard art show that I organized was in April of 92. And in my dumb 22-year-old brain or whatever, like, the response was huge. It really wasn't. We got written up like that big, postage stamp in Thrasher. Which, but for me, was like,
hey, in Australia, we thought that was the front of Vanity Fair.
Even now, like that's still the best thing that ever happened in my life was that little postage stamp article in Thrasher.
So cool.
But yeah, no. Then that was like all of a sudden when that show happened, and that was like all these different people from all over the world were just sending stuff. Like boxes were just arriving, like at the door of like boards and drawings, and like anyone was invited in. It was not curated at all. But then like all of a sudden, at least for New York, like the people who were coming to the gallery were like different. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like the scene. There was like all kinds of different people coming all the time. And then sort of saying, like, oh, like maybe like it wasn't like success, but it was, you started realizing, oh, like it struck a chord, right? Like
and were there some artists who people were buying from, and then all of a sudden it became a little competitive, or they were like, oh, wait, I can do this and make a little money? And...
Later, yeah. At that point, nobody was really buying anything. We were selling like Mark Gonzalez drawings for $20. Thurston Moore bought one, and we thought that was like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
He spent $20.
Yeah.
And did you build a personal collection of work from that time too? Yeah. That's awesome.
I tried to get something later on. At that time I was so broke, but yeah, I tried to kind of get something from every show if I could.
Cool.
And where do you live now?
In Hollywood, not far
nice.
from here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, near the Bowl.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's the place to ransack. For all the amazing, incredible 90s.
You know what? There's no
Ed
street
Templeton
value.
stuff. Oh, yeah. Is it really? Is the market not? So it hasn't yet. Because it feels like it should. Like it's going to get like.
It'll come back, just like everything comes back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of out right now.
That's interesting. But not Shepherd Fairy. But it's not his personal stuff. Like you can hire him to do a corporate thing.
Right.
That's where the money
and I think
is.
people still buy it or whatever, but like everything goes in trends.
Yeah.
Music and
what about
fashion.
Harmony had a big show like a couple years back here, remember?
Just a few months ago he did.
Big pieces, right?
Yeah, big paintings.
Really good.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
They
Yeah.
were great. He's another polymath.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah,
Any polymaths like the sort of Florida dad with polo shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Now
he
he's
wears,
like Jimmy Buffett.
He's sort of like
He drives a red Ferrari.
Normcore / Jimmy Buffett. I think I'm like that too. I'll get into sometimes I love to dress the part of different, even if it's sort of really boring thing. Like it's fun to just have the outfit for it. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're lucky you have that. I've dressed the same way since I was 14, just trying to grow up. When I'm an old man, it will finally make sense.
Yeah, when did you decide your look? Because you have such a distinctive look.
Like when I was a teenager.
And there was
a brief.
No one in Calabasas was looking like this.
Well, yeah. I mean, it started off as like a mod. I was like a mod.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of like turned into like a version of mod.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mod is it's a nice. I was looking back as I'm writing a memoir. I was looking back at Adam Horowitz's looks because when you write, you have to describe things.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. I forgot he kind of had mod cut pants, like thin at the bottom. And there was, obviously the B-boy or whatever, like that.
Yeah. Peg Dickies.
But yeah, okay. I'll remember that.
Is that like stovepipe? Is that the same thing?
Yeah. But we do them ourselves,
Right.
Just like,
exactly.
you pin them in.
You pin them and then
you,
yeah.
Make them like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this book has just come out,
Yeah.
and this is a collection of poems from the 90s that were written on napkins and in notebooks and drunken scribbles, we could say.
Perfect.
And I love the grading of the paper here. That's so
the way
cool.
it goes.
See that?
Dark,
How it goes.
Yeah, just gradually deeper and deeper into the darkness.
That's great.
So yeah, tell us about this. Like, what was the process of you rediscovered a bunch of old writing, right?
During COVID, during the lockdown, like none of us
Going through things.
Yeah, like nobody could do anything, you know? And so there was a box I had of like writings and journals and things like that. And I just started like digging through. And then I realized that there were like a couple of hundred of these, like, I don't even know why I saved these things. You know what I mean? That were just like scribbles, poems, drunken shit. Some of it's like barely legible because I was so drunk when I wrote them.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was just like, maybe there's something here, and I have nothing else to do. So I just started transcribing them. I'd try to do like 10 a day or something like that.
Yeah.
And some of them where there's layout is like part of it, right? They're like the words are peppered
they were
around.
a bit different, like because they're all handwritten. Like there was no computers.
Gotcha.
That's so satisfying to transcribe scribbles.
Yeah, you've been doing some of that.
Well, a
haven't
little bit, but
is.
That's great.
And I tried really, really hard. I don't know if you've been doing this, but tried really, really hard to not change them.
you?
Yeah.
Because you must cringe at times.
Sure.
Better now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I cringe at the entire book.
Right. Yeah.
I was 19.
I don't know if there's one portion that will be truly transcribed, or I'm not going to use any of that. But I changed a couple of things, which is cheating. But
it's not.
Who
it's
knows?
your work. You're
It's
allowed
my
to do
work. Yeah.
whatever you
Look, a documentary is 24
not-
frames a second of lies.
Yeah, totally.
And it's not a poems. It's a little different. Like, I guess this would be like whatever. Anyway, but that's so.
So yeah,
nice. I love that picture.
What's your relationship to this period of your life? Because it's obviously you're capturing a certain kind of, like you said, there was a dark experience, but a very alive experience. Of being in
New
20s.
York.
In New York,
Yeah.
I started writing them when I was 19 in like 89, and most of them were done actually before I opened the gallery.
Gotcha.
There's a few that were like during that period of time, but like I was 19, I just moved to New York. I didn't really know what I was gonna do. I like had a shitty job in a retail store. And I was trying to be a painter or whatever, but I just would spend, as you do when you're 19 in New York, I would just spend all day in bars. Bars were cheap too.
Right.
Just like any day I wasn't working, I would just I could go to the bar like in the morning. you know?
Because it's like company and if
If
it's warm or cool, depending on the weather.
Yeah, which I've not done in
and that's
so
your
long.
office.
Yeah.
A bar became
like,
your office.
Yeah, it was
That's
like the
cool.
office. And so I would just sit in there and there was no phone to look at. There was no other distraction. So I would just like bring a pen and like I had journals and like little notebooks and stuff, or I just like write on the napkins or whatever. So it was really just like boredom.
Yeah.
And there's also like a real,
know?
at that age, like a romance about the past, you know, the Bukowskis and
A little bit of that
Carracks
too.
and all that kind of thing in the bars. And, you know.
Yeah,
it's like-
I was like into Burroughs.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was,
yeah.
you know, I had the Beats and I had kind of a whole thing. Of
Did you have a
that.
favorite bar? Did anyone visit you in the bars or?
The Horseshoe Bar on 7th and B.
Okay,
right by Tompkins Square Park right there. It was like I would go there a lot. And the Mars Bar too.
Did the bartenders, did you have a regular drink?
yeah.
What was your staple? Like, what was your regular
I'm just a beer drinker.
Oh, just beer?
No, yeah, and
Yeah.
sometimes a shot. But yeah, just
morning
beer.
to night. Keep it simple. Keep
Yeah.
the order simple. How'd you get this Shiner?
That bar fight.
Barfights.
So authentic. Aaron.
Yeah.
So good.
Bar fight. That was actually at Max Fish though.
Was it?
Yeah, because it's a ridiculous story, but I got into an argument with like Puerto Rican kids it was like a drug block, right? Ludlow at that time. Now it's not, but it was like really like a drug block, which is another reason why people love to come down there because you could score everything on the street. But we got into an argument over who loved the neighborhood more.
Oh, what a wholesome argument.
Sweet.
That was what it was about.
And who did love it more?
I got a beat down for it. So, I think they were saying that, no, it's like, I'm an interloper,
That's
like
amazing.
The beginning of gentrification, which it was.
It's so funny just to beat someone up for loving the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, that's amazing.
That's really
That's some
amazing.
real neighborhood pride.
It was, it was like a pride fight.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's really
And luckily,
interesting.
that photo got snapped.
Right.
Yeah, you look really tough. So how do you
was a bad one.
I'm curious because, this is something we talk about a lot, and obviously the times of our lives when, I'm in my mid-40s or in your early 50s. I don't know, imagine you're somewhere around
54.
Yeah, 54.
Yeah.
How do you balance, and I ask this because I think you're good at it, honoring the past, honoring that period of your life, but with not being overly nostalgic. So like you're staying present to what's happening now.
Yeah.
Because you love culture now.
Yeah.
And how do you
Addicted.
strike that balance?
It's tricky, you know what I mean? Because you want to like honor your past, right? You don't want to like ignore everything that you've done because it's cool, right? Like your past is cool, but you can't just live in it. I'm sure you guys see this. I see people who just live in the past all the time. And that's fine for them, it's not a judgment or anything like that, but I'm like, I could just never do that. Like just only be in
I think that's
like,
so
what I've done.
good. Just the fact that
know?
you like it now, I think that's the answer to the question. Like that you are able, like you're more like that, and it helps me stay like that because I would be someone living in the past.
That was like one of
Right.
our early fights
when we
in our
got together because
relationship.
all our friends, we just talked about funny things that happened.
Yeah, remember back in the day?
That's all we
Remember
did.
when you said that, and then he said
And
that.
then Ben was sort of like, I don't really care about that. And I was
It's like, it's funny
wait,
every now
but-
and then to have a conversation,
I was
but
like,
not
this
every
is my
day.
whole identity. But now we have so many new friends, young friends. I know so much like and also I have a 21-year-old, so that helps.
Yeah,
but
I'll
I
bet.
just know, new music, new whatever, dancing, lingo, artists, all of it. So I think it's so exciting. But I don't know if I didn't have kids or you, I would be stuck in the 70s, 90s.
But I like that in culture
wonder.
now there's room for, I think the young people we meet, they want to hear about the 90s.
Yeah.
But they
do.
want it within a context that they can understand now. I think part of what people are interested that we talk to about both of our lives and careers of what sort of becoming getting a little buzz or whatever was before social media.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to fathom. Yeah. And so I think part of the value we can bring to younger culture now, contemporary culture, is our understanding of what it was like then.
What do you mean buzz? Like,
well, I just mean like now.
A dopamine hit or whatever?
No. I just mean more like just in your career. Like I think now young people know what it looks like for someone to be on the ascent, star making, whatever that looks like now. It happens on social media, basically. What the way it used to happen, like fanzines, the connection of people that you'd get a phone number of someone in London to be friends with, and
like fax.
Yeah, the way the intelligentsia and the way like smart artistic people used to connect.
And just like you said, like your spot and even clubs, like the people who were celebrities, they weren't even really celebrities. They were just characters. And they were the celebrity of the club. And, they probably did do things, but it was more just, you were like, oh, cool, they're there. Like, it's like a hot night because, but it wasn't,
Yeah, I've been saying we were like the original micro-influencers.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I've just been, as you go back and you think about things, you think about nights or whatever. And like, nights when like Leo DiCaprio was there with David Blaine, like these like weird people, but everyone was like 22.
Phillips chopping off David's finger with a cigar cutter.
Yeah, but everyone's like 22.
Because you all they're not, you're excited, but it's more just, you're all there just like trying to, like have fun and pick people up. And so everyone's sort of on the same playing field.
Like, where do I fit into the?
Yeah, like it's exciting, but you're all motivated by the same like drive to basically probably like have sex and just like
pretty much
So
get fucked up.
You're not like just like you're not like a fan totally only.
No. Another thing I was talking to my friend about recently that ties into your last question is that there was an idea of like selling out.
Oh, yeah.
No sellout. And that does not exist anymore.
I know. It was deadly back then. I've been writing in the memoir because it was like, like the Beastie Boys called it like kissing the monkey because they had a photo shoot with some famous great photographer and they had like someone in a gorilla mask to like kiss the monkey. And they were like, no, we're not doing that. And that was the term for doing dumb when they wanted a press shot that was not to their liking.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, of course you don't want to do anything that's uncomfortable.
But now people respond with like, get that bag.
Everything.
Yeah.
Kiss the monkey.
Like, whatever. Kiss the monkey.
But it's weird because it's sort of like, but it's a new type of a cultural career that includes the need to make money. Like it's not, to me, it's not as, I know you could say, there's an argument where you could say, oh, it's become so commercialized or corporate. But I just think it's also become more like realistic, where young people know, hey, if I want a career in creativity and culture, I got to have an income. So I celebrate my friends who are making money because they're going to be able to keep doing it. I mean,
like, I remember when Woody Allen, I heard like he did a Kodak commercial in Japan. And that was like, because it wouldn't be embarrassing. By the way, that sounds like so cool.
Totally.
You can't do anything that like, I mean, of course there's doing some commercials. You look at certain people and you're like, whatever, like people are saying Lady Gaga doing a migraine commercial or something like, but I'm
nobody
like,
really cares.
I'm like, I think she probably has migraines like that. I believe everything. I'm just like, this is good for her. I bet you she seems tense. She probably, and then people are like, why is she doing a migraine commercial? But
did you ever get any sort of offer that you viewed as it would have been selling out at the time that you passed up on?
I mean, too many. I don't remember them all.
Yeah, but there was a lot you said no to.
Oh yeah,
that you wouldn't say no to now.
No way. No way. Yeah. The amount of money I lost that I said no to.
Yeah.
Over the years because of punk rock guilt or whatever it is, you know, like it's ridiculous.
And what
like,
was
my friends won't like me anymore.
Yeah.
It was so it wasn't as internalized. It was more just like fear of like social repercussions.
The culture will
I
hate me.
I had that. So, but then I remember we were friendly with Mike Watt, and he was talking about what punk used to be and what it meant was it wasn't like just be cool and don't be heavy metal and don't be goofy and just be like this. Punk is a whole thing. But I think the original
he was like everyone should be different. Everyone should have their own approach and their own style and not have it
started.
Right. And then it sort of became like, one thing.
Yeah. The British ruined it.
Right. The British are coming and they ruin everything. They
ruined everything.
So what
they made it a uniform.
What is it that like what's exciting you these days? Like culturally, creatively, what's happening in there? What conversations are like giving you a vibe?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, this is gonna sound so funny coming from the guy who just put out blackout poems from my bar poetry.
You getting back into bar fights?
No, although I did think about doing one, just to like bring it back. No.
Oh no, that would be good
I'm
publicity.
a dad now.
Yeah.
I can't afford. I can't show up with a black eye to school pickup.
Who loves the school more? No, you have to fight other dads.
Oh yeah. Who loves this?
I have more school pride than you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
No, I mean, it sounds really funny, but like I'm actually like really, really interested in what's happening with AI.
Yeah.
Which is like way off topic for what we're talking about, but I know everyone's so scared of it.
Yeah.
And there are some reasons to be scared, but it's also like an incredible tool.
I agree.
It's like an incredible tool if you learn how to use it right, which I haven't quite figured it out. But
I think the conversation is, we need both conversations, but it's wildly imbalanced. The conversation about the terror that AI is going to rain upon us is dominating everything.
People said that about the light bulb,
Right. And the famous thing about
the written word.
Socrates didn't like the written word. The Plato, it was like his kid was like, yeah. I think it is going to shift. Obviously, process is just changing with everything. But
as artists, it's like a wonderful tool.
The ability to do it's like MIDI with making music. You can suddenly have like
Charles Fleischer works with it.
That's true.
He does both. He does real, he paints as well, but he also does stuff and it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's like
it's
a
his
little
mind.
baby right now. It hasn't figured out what it wants to be.
It's his mind, but he puts his fantasy into it, and it's like, I don't know. I think he's using it well, actually, which is interesting because he's like 85 or something.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what people, our age, the benefit that we have through having really lived through culture created before computers is we look at these things as tools.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Goldie, our daughter, last night was saying she's found a TikTok trend of people making videos that they're going to save for their kids. And they're just like, hi, it's your mom. Like when they're 12.
Wow.
And they're really looking at, it's a whole other way of looking at creativity when they've got documentation and integration with technology from their whole lives.
Yeah.
But I think we look at it as something added, not the whole thing.
No, it's like Photoshop or something.
Yeah.
But this
it's
awkward...
like, I can do that?
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. And this awkward time has got a lot of humor and interesting things in it. Like the AI is so odd and interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's been so much humor and oddness and, people purposefully enjoying the mushiness and the weirdness of it.
Yeah,
and that's
it's like
a thing.
wrong.
It's
wrong.
Like
gets it
right.
wrong all the time.
And so I wonder if it'll one day be totally smooth and this will be this great period of being...
Yeah, and
it's
interesting with film, and I'm curious because you have your work, Directors Bureau, and that whole side of things.
Yeah.
AI seems to indicate a shift in film as going truly back to being a director's medium. And I think part of the fear of actors is actors have driven a lot of the cultural capital of getting things financed and stuff.
Of course.
But this is a different thing when a director can really execute a cinematic vision potentially without the complication of actors.
Finally, I'd be able to do every time I write a script, I'm like, what am I doing? Who can ever do this without $1 billion?
Right.
But is it, wait, I want to hear that.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's fine. Plug the script into the computer and 30 minutes, film's
done.
Generate
1492
exactly. On Columbus's
yes.
ship. But yeah, how do you feel about that? Like what the role of a director with it all?
I don't know. I mean, I understand actors' fears, but I don't think that the technology with AI will ever be good enough to capture all the subtleties in a human performance. I think no matter how many mistakes
you'll
you program
feel it.
in,
You'll feel it.
That like a human being makes the kinds of personality mistakes or like the quirks of a personality that you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
So I don't ever really think it'll be that good. It'll probably come pretty close.
Yeah.
But I don't really think that the actors will become completely irrelevant unless that's like part of the gimmick of the movie.
Right.
Like it's all the first movie that's all AI or whatever.
But like if you think about
Pixar,
Pixar and all that, they have voice actors, but then the creation of the visuals. But I guess we know we're watching an animation.
Exactly. And AI, I think AI will be incredible for like sets, and like building building worlds.
I know.
Terry Gilliam, he did that. He built they looked like it.
No, production design is like an area that's going to be the first to be impacted, right?
I think so too.
I mean, who is going to bother building these really complicated physical sets?
Because it's already pretty good.
Yeah. It is funny. We just did a video on film, and it's funny how things now that are old school, like even a brick and mortar shop or whatever, there's getting, stationary hand, now they're all like a boutique experience. Like we filmed something on film and it felt like it was like a fetish experience.
Yeah. But I just did it too, but I loved it.
Dude, it was great.
We loved it too. And what I love, and it's funny, we made this video.
Yes, like we don't have that much film left. Yeah. Shut it.
And
turn it off.
We made this video on film for an album I recorded on tape. And in both experiences, the pressure to make final decisions was what I really loved about it. That it's like
you don't have the luxury.
Everyone has all these safety nets of how many backup versions of things they're doing, and that was really exciting.
Yeah. I feel like film's having a little moment.
Is it?
In the same way that like vinyl is back and like VHS tapes are back. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but there's
I love that.
all these video rental stores opening up.
Oh,
that's good because there really are quite a few things you can't get.
Thousands of films.
And increasingly because no one wants to pay the residuals. So they're pulling stuff off streaming. Westworld, the Evans show on HBO, that's been pulled off because they didn't want to pay the residuals on it. That was a massive show that these brilliant filmmakers and actors put in like 5 years of their life to. You can't watch it now unless you pay $100 to get it via the iTunes store.
Right,
which
so it'll be less expensive maybe to get a video rental again and go back to that. Did I return my video in time?
Films that were made that never made it, were never digitized, were never put to streaming.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just like a little weird trend or something like that. But those kinds of things.
That's fun.
Like people are shooting film, people are making records. I mean, I'm sure if you try to do vinyl, it takes like 2 years or something because the demand is so huge.
It's partly because it's really interesting because there's these huge artists like Taylor Swift and Adele are printing quite a lot of vinyl that their fans, I don't know if they're playing the vinyl or they're just buying it at Urban Outfitters and putting it on their wall.
Right.
It ties up the plants. It ties up the pressing plants.
Oh, really?
So it's hard to get your record schedule.
Yeah, our kid likes albums and puts them in frames. So she'll just get them like that.
So maybe it is more like an object, art object or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's I think that need to have a physical object. I'm torn. Sometimes I feel that it's sort of like nostalgic materialism and there's really no point to it. Right. But then I also honor the fact that wow, there is an impulse in us that does not want to turn our whole life into zeros and ones. Yeah. We want to be in, Ione said today, she thought we were doing this on Zoom. And I was like, no, Erin's coming in. She was like, oh, yay. It's more fun to be in person.
Well, also we had, Nomi Fry, I don't know, she's a writer. She came over and I had a Nan Golden book and a couple books out. And we were looking at certain art and things like they like graphic or something. Yeah. And we sat and chatted and looked at some books together. And I was like, are we in a time machine? Did we go back to because it was fun to go to people's houses and when you
look at their stuff,
you look at a book and you're like, oh yeah, I love that, and I don't know, you just hold stuff and play records and whatever. That is, it does feel nostalgic, but it's fun.
I think it's a human need though. I mean, I'm not like a scientist or something, but we need to touch things, right?
Yeah,
we're human beings. We need no matter how digital things get on one side, maybe we even need it more.
Yeah.
People are so into connecting with nature, which it's not really my thing, but hiking and the whole nature kind of thing is so huge. And I sometimes think that's a direct response to how digital are human beings. We need to hold a record or to feel
tactile
next to other people or
what do you think about what do you think of a digital art We listened to, Ian Rogers.
Yeah.
Did you listen to him on Rick Rubin's podcast?
No, I should.
Great long chat about
if you have a road trip, because it's like they're so long, but that one
it's long and technical.
I think that's the only one of Rick's. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I've heard more of Rick Rubin. That one was really
good ones on
really,
there.
really good.
But it was fun because we all go back with Ian, but I've never heard him formally just go through all his theories about digital, where the culture's going and everything. But he has this massive collection of digital art. And he says, I know I've lost money on it. Like the market did not move the way everyone thought it was going to with, what were they called again? The NFTs. Yeah. But he has a website where you can look at his collection. And it's almost like it looks like Pinterest.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like playing cards or collecting stamps, or I don't know. To me, that I get lost. Like that one, I don't get. But
do you like the idea of digital art?
No,
doesn't interest you.
No,
because what do you do with it? How do you display it?
People buy flat screens and they like cycle through.
Right,
or whatever,
I'm not down.
But it's the quality of the. I'm gonna sound like a snob right now. I'm not a snob. I think anytime an artist is making anything, it's good. But it's like illustrators.
Right.
It's not. It's like.
But he has photographs. He has like people that took great photographs that issued 5.
It sounds like a collect. Like it's a fun thing.
I don't want to diss anyone.
Okay, it's a no. It's a no on NFTs from Aaron Rose. We understand.
It's fun to collect, I guess, but it seems more like a fantasy football, or I don't know, something like a fun.
Buy a print.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
I mean, I get it. Sometimes prints end up just like stored somewhere, but still, one day.
Piles of them against walls.
But
do you have a vision of Alleged as sort of as a brand, like into the future? Because I feel like that's sort of like there.
People push me to do it. We did our first T-shirt.
Yeah, I know. I ordered one.
Yeah, it's coming.
Cool. It's a great shirt.
We're a small operation.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
After like years of people being like, you got to just do that. Everybody will want that. Just do that. I'm like, oh, that sounds so lame. I don't want to be in the clothing business. I always feel like clothing business is like a cop out. But
if it's a part of something.
But then I'm like the response has been really good. So maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of.
It's that balancing back to before. It's like, is that too much like in the past?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, should I just like do something new and like not just, like, I guess you can do it all.
T-shirts are good.
And the nice thing about a brand is, our company's a brand that we do all kinds of things with. Like we could make a T-shirt, but then we could also put out a record and we could do, I do think it has cultural capital attached to it.
It does.
And the question is, do you, in your lifetime, enjoy that? Or does it, you know what I mean? Is it something someone rediscovers at some point?
I do. And I've thought about it, I think I'd need like a partner or something, I need like investors or a partner or someone who's like, let's do this. And then it's more fun.
For sure.
When it's just you.
Yeah.
Fun is fun.
Totally.
It just becomes more of like.
Absolutely.
Totally.
So it'd be like somebody would have to be like, let's do this together. And I'd be like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Then like it'll be like more enjoyable.
Yes.
Not even from the money stuff, but just like you
have
have like someone to bounce off of and you're building this thing.
No, we're the same. I feel like everything we're doing, it's you want to celebrate little victories with somebody too. It's otherwise you're like, it's a lonely process.
And balance of like, I mean, you do more technical stuff but we whatever, you can do different jobs.
Divide the tasks.
Yeah, because you guys are putting out records, I saw.
Yeah. We've just done digital though.
Okay.
We've
NFT record.
No, but we did like, for instance, so there's this
one
band,
song at a time, just whatever.
Oh, is that how you're doing it, like singles?
Yeah, that's kind of how culture works at the moment.
Yeah.
So we look at it like sort of like Sub Pop Singles Club or something, just digital. Like we did, do you know Byron Spencer? I feel like he's like, Chris Chang knows him. He's an Aussie director and photographer.
Okay.
He's
I've
recently
probably seen his work.
Yeah, I've done stuff with him. He's shot for like recently like Lady Gaga and Julia Fox. He's super cool.
Okay.
But he has a band called Deep Faith with this guy, Daniel Stricker, who was in this band Midnight Juggernauts. And they put out a single called King of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was an AI Snoop Dogg singing like an electro clash song about seeing Anthony Kiedis at the nail salon. Amazing. And we were, and it was kind of like probably going to get pulled down off Spotify at some point, but we were like, we'll put this out. Let's put this out. And we just look at it as like a way to like help the team out. You know what I mean? Be like,
you're
hey, a
contributing to
little bit of a
culture.
platform.
You know, you're giving. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's important to give,
Yeah.
right? You know.
Yeah, it's good, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're just using it in that way, and then we're doing like you came to the Joanna Sternberg, like
She's so great.
putting on little shows, and it's kind of fun with things like I think what's interesting and what I relate to about the way you did Alleged was that like you kind of had this innocent. This was like the punk rock dream. It was the innocence of believing the money will take care of itself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we believe too.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But living that way is a better way to live, I think.
I think so.
You know.
I think so. You know, it allows for surprises for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because there's not so much strategy involved. You know?
Totally.
It's, a little bit of strategy, but it's more like I like this. Let's do it. But you're right. It does always work out.
Yeah.
You know, like I think about that all the time. Like I'm 54 years old, and you know, I have a kid, and like you know, the dude on the cover of that poetry book is like so far away. He's not though. He's kind of still in me, but he's like so far away, and like it all kind of did work out in a weird way. But like that guy would never have thought that. You know.
Amazing.
Do you know people who still stayed in Calabasas that you
My
or your
parents still
family?
live
Yeah.
there.
It's
in the
beautiful,
same
right?
house.
Oh, those property value must have gone up.
Oh, it's crazy.
They should like
it was like
refinance.
hippies and horses, like
Right.
in the 80s. Yeah, there wasn't really none of the celebrities were out there yet.
Our kid Goldie loves it out there, right? Which she's been once, but but only when she was a little kid. But she really liked the nature vibe of it or something. It has a good vibe.
The old town,
Yeah.
like it's changed now. They built like a fancy like mall and stuff, but there's still like the old parts, like an old Western town.
Yeah. Just
You know?
down the bottom there. So let's wrap up with tell us where if people want T-shirts or your blackout poems, how they do that.
The T-shirts are all gone.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, they sold
All right.
out. But the Blackout Poems is published by Hat and Beard Press, which is an amazing local publisher, LA publisher. And you can get it on their website, which is at hatandbeard.com.
Cool.
You can order it from that way.
Awesome.
That way. And it's only $12. It's cheap.
Dude, that is
Pocketbook
value.
fits in your pocket.
This is not a cheap book to press, though. It's like you've done like a
Yeah,
nice.
it's not really. It's
Yeah.
not. We're not in it for the
Design is
money,
big
bro.
making. Yeah, exactly.
Good.
That'd be weird if this was the final, the way you were going to get your big payday, a book of poetry.
You never know.
Yeah, it is. It's the next big bull market.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You want me to read a poem?
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Should I just open it randomly?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. It's called Starfish. We are all frustrated pop stars. Even pop stars are frustrated pop stars. This is a myth. That is a wish. Have you ever touched a starfish? There's a career in what you hear. On the street, there's a motion picture behind every face that you meet. Do you think if you hold back, what you lack won't be seen? Do you care if somewhere what gets you scared can't be shared? There's an agent of disaster in pure style. There's a fatal distraction in every winning smile. Do you see the aviators in mid-blue citing you? If you do you care if they should dive on a target still alive? Have you ever kissed a starfish? Have you ever killed a starfish?
Amazing.
Thank you.
Oh my God,
course.
that's good.
It was very
Wow.
romantic until
You're,
the end.
You're good. You're
That was
good.
awesome, dude.
That's
Thank you
That
so
was
much.
great when I was young.
No, that was good now.
Thank you guys.
Love that.
I listen
Thank
to
you.
every episode, by the way.
Aw.
I think I've
Oh.
told you before.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
I really
Well,
do.
I'm
good.
really glad.
I aspire to be like you guys.
oh my God.
Like your banter and the way you talk and your guests and everything. It's really.
It's easy. You just interrupt a lot. That's the key. You want to say goodbye to the beautiful babies?
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye, beautiful babies.
Together we're weirder together.